You know, sometimes you plan something and the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, no, it's not going to go how you plan. I have a better plan and you need to make a quick U-turn. Now, you can either fight the reality and be determined not to make the U-turn, or you say, okay, there must be something greater than me out there, then I should not make a U-turn. And I'll give you one example out of many, that today I'm going in the morning to the mikveh, and the mikveh costs 10 shekels. So I usually have coins with me. This is not an issue. Today I only left the house with 1 coin. And in my mind I'm like, I should leave the house with more coins, because sometimes the machine doesn't work, something happens, better to have more coins. So I didn't feel like starting to look through drawers finding more coins. I left the house with 1 coin. Sure enough, I come to the mikveh. For whatever reason, that Hashem decided the machine doesn't accept my coin. And I scratch it, and I bang it, and I blow on it. I do all the hocus pocus, and I put it in, it goes out. Put it in, it goes out. Put it in, and in my mind I'm like, oh, how did I know half an hour ago to go with more coins? And I put the coin in, and it goes out, and I'm already losing time, and I'm waiting. Maybe somebody will come out. Usually there's a traffic going in and out. A desert, nothing going in, nobody's going out. And I'm putting the coin, and I'm really saying to myself, okay, I guess Hashem doesn't want me to go to this mikveh for whatever reason. So I can either keep on pushing the coin in the machine, and obviously it's not going to take it, or I should go to the next mikveh. So of course the Yetzer Hara right away is like, go home. You don't have time to prepare for the classes, you have to do this, you have to do that. So Baruch Hashem, Tzfat is not such a big city, so I go to the next mikveh. And believe it or not, over there the machine also is not accepting my coin. And I'm like, this is a cursed coin. So I put the coin, goes in, I put it again, it goes out, I put it again, goes out, and again, no traffic. Usually people are going in and out. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know what I prepared for this classes today. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, Hashem obviously wants me to have some type of a thought, why am I stopped from going into the mikveh? First mikveh, second mikveh, usually I have coins in my pocket. And it's right on this thin line, on this moment that you're about to kind of lose your patience. I'm like, come on, Hashem, like I'm coming here to do a mitzvah. I'm like, I'm not coming here to do a sin. Why do I have these blocks, so to say? Why? I'm wasting my time. I'm like, I wasted already 25 minutes on this, putting the coin, like as if I'm in Las Vegas or something, and nothing's coming out. So sometimes Hashem wants me to go His way, not my way. And if I know to accept it, then the Yeshua comes. So in the beginning, I was very determined to go to the first mikveh, and the coin, I'm not exaggerating, I might have put it in 50 times in, and it didn't go. And then in the second one also. And the second that I stopped, and I was like, you know what? I don't know why. I mean, I guess I have to spend 10 minutes outside the mikveh in each place. But the second that I accepted the way, the delay, whatever you want to call it, then somebody walks out, and I tell him, do you have another coin? So he tries to also scratch it, bang it, does all his hocus pocus, he puts it in, doesn't work, so he pulls out a new coin from his pocket, and voila, I go in. So this is not what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell you something else, but in everything that we do in our life, there's a lesson, there's a message from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And unfortunately, we think that we see the view, and that's the way that it has to be. And this morning was full of Ashgacha Pratit. My mom came to visit us, it was a very rainy day, so Dvorah asked her if she can take the kids to school. So she's driving, and I'm sure you noticed there was a lot of fog. So she barely sees any sight forward. So my 5-year-old tells her, Nana, you got to move a little bit closer. That way you're going to see. So in the 5-year-old view, he doesn't understand this is fog. He just, in his understanding, he just doesn't see what's in front of him, so you have to move a little bit closer. And sometimes a 5-year-old can give you a wisdom of a tzaddik. So we see the fog in front of us. We're driving in fog, and we don't see anything. And I feel in danger, and it's not comfortable. And sometimes a 5-year-old needs to come and tell me, just move a little bit closer, then you'll see. So the point is that what I wanted to tell you, and I'll tell you the story in a second, the point is that the Kadosh Baruch Hu sometimes is taking me on a different track, what I think is the track that I should or need to go on. And the more that I resist it, the more exits I go on the highway. Not too long ago I went to a lecture, and I was driving, and for whatever reason I was like, I don't need a GPS, I know the road, I know the way, it's going to Yerushalayim, I've been there hundreds of times, so we didn't put the GPS. And we're talking, me and my assistant, we're talking. I'm like, wait a minute, I think we went too far. In my mind I was like, no, I would not miss the huge junction where Route 6 and Route 1 merge. I don't know if you know that route. Where Route number 1 and Route 6, they merge, you really can't miss it. And I was like, no, I wouldn't miss such a huge intersection. And then we're driving, another exit goes, and every exit it goes, I'm like, I think we went too far, and we might have a problem going too many exits down. And in my mind, I'm like, no, I would not miss the intersection. I mean, you really can't miss it. You have 5-6 lanes meeting 5-6 lanes, and they're merging together. You know what I'm talking about. And we passed maybe 6, 7, 8 exits. I don't even know. At some point, I was like, we went too far. Stop. We stopped the car, and we stopped the car one exit to watch that the next exit was another 17 kilometers. We went up going almost till Be'er Sheva. And we this whole detour was like 80 kilometers and about an hour of a detour. And in my mind, I was like, look at that. Sometimes you go on the highway and you know you missed the exit. Just stop and go out, because you're going to continue on the highway. You're going to be missing another exit and another exit and another exit. And that's the reality with us, is that we go on this highway and we think it's my way, but it's not my way, it's the highway. And Hashem says that's the time where you need to turn around and you make an exit. You're going the wrong way. So the point that I'm trying to get to is that we often find situations that put us in stress and makes us extremely worried and extremely lose our focus to a point that we don't really function. And not only that we don't function, we really take away the responsibility from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And what I wanted to share with you is I went now on our trip, Baruch Hashem. It ended up being very successful, spiritually and emotionally and financially, which what we needed. And you know, when I go on the tours, I go like, full force. I'm going to conquer the world. And, as sad as it might sound, our institute needs finance. So money doesn't come on the tree outside. It only gives olives, that tree. It's still...
in America.
Excuse me?
Only in America.
Money is everywhere. You can find money on the moon if you want. But, unfortunately, our trees in the backyard don't provide money, so I have to go to get money. So, even though I don't like it, that's not what I do. But I had a goal that I had to reach with the as much as I don't like it, but with the institute comes a lot of financial burden. So I had a goal, and my goal, first of all, my spiritual goal is to reach as many souls as possible, and all the rest. But in the financial goal, there was also a goal. I need to meet a goal, and we need to run the show. And the show is much larger than what you see. There's a lot of things going on. So I go on my trip, and in my mind I have already my plan, how things are going to go. And the first day comes, big disappointment. Okay, yeah, well, okay. First date, it's not a big deal. Second day comes, even a worse outcome. Okay. The third day comes, and it was like even a bigger disaster. Now I'm talking about financially right now. I'm not talking about spiritually. I'm not talking about in regards to the outreach, and the lectures were amazing. One of them already went online because they had to do with Purim. And the next week, all of them are going to go online. The lectures were unbelievable. I was literally running on 2 hours of sleep a day. Hundreds of people attended. It was spiritually, there's not an issue. That's not the problem. But I was also having the burden of the financial part. Comes the fourth day, and every lecture we come out and we have a beautiful table where we have all the CDs that we give out and the books and the literature, and we have these beautiful pushkas that we made, and everything was beautifully organized. And when I come out, we had a very dedicated assistant that helping us, and my daughter was with me. And I come out, and I at the end counting the cashier, and I tell my daughter, no, this night was good. She was like, we made $61. And I was like, wow, that can cover the gas coming here. So, not that my intention here is not to share the financial situation. I want to make a point. The point was that the first 4 days financially was a disaster. A big disaster. Now forget about the expenses of the trip that are extremely expensive. Forget about everything around it. There's also a goal, and each day has to provide a certain number. And that brought me into a very, I don't even know how to describe it. It didn't bring me to a very happy place. Because I was like, wow, yes, my goal is to go and affect people. It's not the finance, but it comes together. And I really got affected, and I was like, and these are the things that you're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to do something good. It's not that I'm doing something bad. I'm not going out to steal. I'm not going to cheat now. I'm not going to try to hurt somebody. If I would go on a wrong path and things would not work out, I would say, okay, no, the Kadosh Baruch Hu is looking out for me. He's making me, Baruch Hashem, not fail. But you go with a lot of energy to do something good, and that doesn't work, that's when it really hits you to the face. And it's very easy to fall back and say, why? Like, I'm trying something good here. I need some assistance here, hello. The point is that it threw me off to not such a positive place. I started, in my level, worrying, so what should I do? How was going to make it? I'm probably going to even cover the cost. Long story short, was a couple days that, again, I'm not talking about the spiritual part. The spiritual part was amazing. Every lecture ended up at 4 a.m. Hundreds of people attended, and it was unbelievably, in that respect, it was a huge success. But there was this financial burden in the back. And then at some point I was like, you know what, I don't understand why am I letting this taking my energy away, because my energy has to be directed now at all these people who waited for months for me to step foot in the United States so they can come and talk to me, they can come and see me, they can come and learn. And that's when I realized that I'm not on the right highway. And I was like, you know what, I didn't come to the United States to raise money. I came to affect the Jews that need to hear me. I did not come here to run a fundraiser. I came with one reason, to affect souls. That's what I came for. And the Yetzer Hara was able to take me 4 exits off the highway, because it was 4 days that my focus was not 100% on my mission, was rather on how am I running the show. And there is a lot of things going on in the background. A lot of people come, they see, okay, a few videos online and this and that. There's much more things going on. And that's when I realized, you know what? It's not my way, it's the highway. It's Hashem's highway. That's when I realized, you know what? Hashem is not expecting me to worry about anything, about what I'm supposed to worry about. I'm supposed to worry about one thing, not anything else. That's my problem in the world, let's put it this way. And that's when everything switched. And I was like, you know what? I didn't ask for this. I'll be very happy sitting in yeshiva all day long learning Torah. I don't need, so to say, many headaches, especially dealing with other people's headaches. Not that I'm chas v'shalom saying it in a not nice way. I'm just saying it's much harder than it looks. And I was like, you know what, Hashem, I didn't ask for all this. I didn't ask to go that far. I'm good with where I am. But that's when it came to me, the flash, like as if the Kadosh Baruch Hu was telling me, worry about your problems. Don't worry about my problems. You leave me my problems, you worry about your problems. And that's where I realized, you know what? The finance, I'm not the treasurer. That's not my problem. It's Hashem's problem. And the second that I moved wasn't my problem. The second that I moved this problem to where it belongs, because I realized, wait a minute, this is not my responsibility. My responsibility is to run the institute. My responsibility is to teach, is to guide, is to help, is to inspire, is to talk, to do many other things. My responsibility is not to worry about the finance of the institute. And the second that I took this problem and I moved it away, then that night somebody told me, I want to talk to you. I have a very urgent matter. And I was like, okay, fine. Needless to say that this urgent matter came at 1:30 a.m. It's not that he called me at 12 in the afternoon. 1:30 a.m. he has an urgent matter. And I'm like, okay, fine. Tell me your urgent matter. So till 5 o'clock in the morning, I heard the urgent matter. And you know what? The Talmud says, Kol hamatzil nefesh achat miYisrael kilu etzil olam maleh. A person who saves one soul is like as if he saved the entire world. So we sat and we had a one-on-one meeting for about 4 or 5 hours, and he poured his heart out. I took what he poured on me, but Baruch Hashem, Hashem put the right words in my mouth, and it was an unbelievable night that he left unbelievably inspired, and I don't know, not only that I felt, I knew that I was able to, like a spiritual chiropractor, put him right on the spot and let him go. And it's not me, I don't take any credit, it's just the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'm just the one who sits there and goes like this. But the second that I made the switch in my mind that why should I worry about something that doesn't belong to me, then that night somebody left an anonymous envelope with a very, very generous, very generous check that would cover much more than all those 4 days. Now in the envelope, I didn't even know it's this envelope, it said to my name, and then when I opened it, I'm like, oh wow. So the point is not to look at the tafel, it's to look at the ikar. The ikar was that I carried a certain burden that didn't belong to me. And Hashem says, listen, don't worry about my problems. Worry about your problems. And your problems are different than what you think. And that's why I told you that we sometimes drive on a highway and we think that I know where I'm going or where I'm heading. And that's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't even know where you're going. You're going totally the wrong way. And you're so stubborn, you're not even willing to get off the highway. And the second that I let go of a burden that didn't even belong to me, that's when the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, oh, you worry about your problem, and I'll worry about what I need to worry about. And the relationship, the partnership, that within, instantly, 50%, the first half of the trip, and again, I'm going back to the financial part, was beyond a disaster. I was already thinking, where am I going to, I'm not even covering my plane ticket. And then it turned around, regardless to the month of Adar, kicked in, Rosh Chodesh Adar, V'na'afochu, everything changed, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I know how to take care of my business, and I can do whatever I want, when it's my way. If you think it's your way, then it's going to go however you want. And then I can show you that you're not going to go where you want to go. And I learned from that a very unbelievable lesson. I mean, I always put my trust in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I always know to leave the responsibility to where it belongs. But sometimes in a point of stress or a point of desperation or whatever you want to call it, when you lose a little bit your balance, then that's, most people, they completely lose control. That's where I realize, I'm so to say losing control over something that I don't even have control over to start with. And it made me realize something so important, that was one of the themes of all the lectures. I mean, that was like one of the punchlines, that we worry so much. We worry so much, and Hashem is like, I don't even know what you're worried about. I don't even know why you're even taking responsibility for something that doesn't even belong to me. It's like me worrying about your electricity bill. It's your electricity bill, it's not mine. It's very nice of me that I'm worrying about your electricity bill, but it's not my bill. And this is one example out of many. But the problem is that we constantly hold problems that don't belong to us, and we're not allowing Hashem to take control. By saying, I think that I can take control, but the reality I have zero control over nothing. I literally have zero control over anything in this world. Not about my health, not about my wealth, not about anything. The only thing that I have control over is a little bit my Yirat Shamayim, my God-fearing, my love to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and my trust to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And in our generation, we're standing a very hard test, and this test is called Emuna. Emuna means to believe. And I found out a very harsh reality that the majority of people have no belief in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. They don't believe in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. They want to believe in something. They say they believe in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, but don't really believe in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Avraham Avinu believed in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, that he was willing to go in fire, in a river, anything. Very few people in history we see that they really believed in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, that there was no other reality but the Kadosh Baruch Hu. En od milvado, there's nothing else. And it brought me to understand a very sad reality that we don't really believe in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. If I would really believe in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, I would all day long be dancing in the street. All day long. Because I have control over my reality. I have control over how am I going to get my supper today. I don't even know, I hate to say that. My mom was here. She came to visit us yesterday. She wanted to come for Purim. It didn't work out. She wanted to see me. She wanted to see my kids. And then she calls me and she tells me, don't ask. My best friend just passed away. Just like that. And she was like, I can't come because I don't know if to... She was like, I want to come, but I'll miss the funeral. I told her, Yana, you mind? She said, you first go to the funeral. It's your best friend. I mean, we'll wait another day or two. What's the big deal? And then when she came, she was like, today I was in the funeral. Tomorrow I have to go to Shiva. The next day I have to go here. The next day, the whole week, I was like, the whole week you just, this is a depressing week you have. Every day you have to deal with these tragedies. And she was like, Baruch Hashem, that I'm just visiting the person who's going through the tragedy. But the reality is that all around us you see day after day, second after second tragedies. And the reality is that tragedies constantly struck everybody. But we don't have any control. We have zero control over anything. And I don't know how. It must be some tikkun that I need to do. I have the worst luck with flights. I am the last passenger going on the plane. Doesn't matter when I come to the airport, how much I plan ahead. I have some type of tikkun with airports and flights. I don't work out. I think that's how Hashem wants me to work out, running with suitcases in terminals. And this is like a record. I will plan 3 weeks in advance. I will still come the last one to the terminal. I don't even know how. And we were in the strip. Baruch Hashem, I had it was very, very special. My daughter joined me. And every time we walked into the airport, I'm like walking fast. She was like, why are you walking fast? I told her, trust me. I know I'm walking fast. So one of the flights, and I didn't want to burn days. So some people are very spoiled. We take an 11 o'clock flight, and then the whole day is spoiled. You can't do anything. So I take night flights. So I went to Phoenix to a marathon. I can't even call it a Shabbaton. It was a marathon because I had a lecture in New York, in Manhattan, that ended up at 2 in the morning. There were a group of 5 guys that they were like, you know, I don't know how you call them, like with the Grateful Dead, they have like the deadheads that follow them wherever they go. So, groupie, I mean, groupie is not such a nice word, but every lecture, they drove 2.5 hours from New Jersey to come and see the lecture, and they're like, you're in America, we're not missing that. So every day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they came, they drove 2.5 hours to attend in the lecture. And every time they try to talk to me, and there's crowds of people gathering, and they're like, listen, we really want to talk to you, everyone. I told them, you know what? How about Thursday night? I have a 6 o'clock in the morning flight. I'm going to be up all night. I'm not going to sleep. How about we finish the lecture, and then we hang out all night, and then I'll go to the airport. Okay, so they come to the lecture. The lecture finishes around 12:30, and we were together till like 4:30 in the morning. Private, just me and those 5 guys, and then I went off to the airport. Sure enough, you know, we're talking, then one of them is telling me, what time is your flight? I'm like, 6:40. He's like, when do you have to be at the airport? And I'm like, 4:45. He's like, it's 4:30. I'm like, great, here we go again. So, back to the marathon. So anyways, we come to the airport. There was a night flight, like it was 6 in the morning, but going back with the time difference. So I land in Arizona at 10 in the morning. Straight to a marathon. It's not even a Shabbaton. It was like 9 lectures in 3 days, and hundreds of people, like in one after the other, in meetings. It was unbelievable, bemet unbelievable. But I had a night flight leaving at 2 a.m. So we come to the airport. Sure enough, I'm already packing, and I'm planning ahead. I'm like already packed at 10:30. 12:05, the guy where I slept, he's like, we got to leave at the house at 12, the latest 12:15. 12:05, somebody knocks at the door. A couple shows at the door, and they're like, we want to talk to the rabbi. So the wife says, he's off to the airport. No, we have to talk to him. We heard he's in town. We have to talk to him. We have serious shlom bayit issues. I'm like, let them in. And I'm talking, and I'm totally forgetting about the flight. And then I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, please don't tell me that's the right time. They're like, yeah, that's the right time. I'm like, okay. Meeting is over, and we fly to the airport. So we're coming. I go up to the gate. Huge sign. The gate is under construction. Go around. So we're starting to run, my daughter and me. We come to the place. I don't even know why. I didn't even look at the sign. My daughter's like, we're going that way. So we're going that way. 26 gates in the terminal. We're coming. I'm like looking at the boarding pass. She's like, what number? I'm telling her, we're 26. We're coming. There's nobody there. I'm like, oh, great. An empty flight. Baruch Hashem. I'm going to have a place where to put the overhead bins. You know, nowadays everybody comes with like three bags. By the time you get on the plane, there's no place to the overhead bins. I'm like, oh, good. An empty flight. And my daughter's like, I don't think it's an empty flight. And I'm looking at the boarding pass. We're in the wrong terminal. I have to run, I'm not exaggerating if it wasn't 3 miles, to the next terminal. And we're running, and I told my daughter, I told you we got to run. I told you, I know why we walk fast. So I have the worst luck with planes. I literally came there out of breath when they're like the last minute closing the door. So I have some type of a tikkun with flights. And I guess that's my workout, and that's where Hashem says, I want you to walk, I don't want you to run. And at some point I told my daughter, let's just walk. She was like, why? I was like, because I'm not missing the flights. I'm coming 3 seconds before they close the door, I'm just going to walk. Those 3 seconds are going to come when I arrive there. And that was the joke of the trip, that we would just walk. And I'm not exaggerating. I have witnessed now with my daughter. Every flight we come at the end, even the flight going back to Israel. And we came with so much stuff, it was not normal. Everybody heard that I'm in the States. The entire state of Israel ordered things for me to schlep. I came back with 6 suitcases. I don't even know how I carried them. 5 carry-ons. I have pictures. Because nobody would believe me. Forget about the overweight and the charges, but I was like, okay. So And of course, same thing. We're literally running. I was the last one checking in. But then I was like already, I'm checking in. My daughter's like, you're not, no. I'm not going to let it get it out of me being calm. I'm going to come the last. They're going to wait for me. So now I already got to the point that I was like, you know what, Hashem, I understand. You just want me to realize that even if I will plan a day ahead, if my muzzle is to be the last passenger, I'm going to be the last passenger. And you know what? I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to buy myself something to drink. And so I totally switched the attitude. Why should I be uptight? I'm not going to miss the flight because, you know what, when we were going to Phoenix, I was like, there's no chance I'm making this flight because there's a cutoff till when you can deposit luggages. And I was like, you know what, we reached the cutoff. And I was like, you know, I'm just going to have 100% trust in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'm just going to come. And in my mind, I was like, there's no way I am missing this flight because 600 people are waiting for me. So it's not about me getting uptight. Yeah, I can get uptight and get like all hyped up and worried. How am I going to miss? What's going to happen? I'm starting to tell my daughter, we have to do Shabbat here. It's so embarrassing. I'm like, no. And then, of course, we made it literally to the last 3 seconds of the cutoff of depositing the luggages, and we come to the security. There's like 5,000 people there. So the point in this adventure is that the Kadosh Baruch Hu likes squeezing the juice till the last drop, because he says, I want you to believe in me. I want you to believe I did not bring you to America to miss flights. I brought you to America to inspire people. But I want to see how far I can squeeze you. And the more you're not being squeezed, then things work out exactly. And I will go the last one on the plane. But I'm going to go without my heart racing 140 beats per second. I'm going to come, don't worry, there's going to be space. And you know what? When you come calm, there's exactly space in the overhead bin. Everything is ready. So this trip made me realize something very, very simple, is that we are running on Hashem's clock, not on our timeline. We have zero control on anything. We think we have control. We have no control. Here is the fine line of the test, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I want you to understand that you are running on my schedule. You have zero schedule. You have no control or no say here. And I want you just to believe. I don't want you to pray. I don't want you to do anything. Don't make conditions with me. I mean, chas v'shalom, don't take my words by saying I don't want you to pray. We have to pray. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when we freak out, we lose control. We start doing conditions. Hashem, if this is going to work, I promise to you. We make all these promises and it lasts for 3 days and that's it. And we get into this cycle of, Hashem says, I don't need all this headache. Just trust me that I'm going to bring you exactly where you're supposed to go, exactly in the moment, exactly how it's going to work, and even if it's going to cost you triple, that's what it's supposed to cost you. Don't try to avoid the cost. Don't think you can start making U-turns whenever you want to make U-turns, and the more you say, okay, here's all my problems, you take care of it, I'm going to worry about my problem. And the second that you do that, problem solved. The point is that nobody is willing to test it to the last moment, because at the last moment it disappears. Not 10% before, 2%. At the last breath, that's when it pops and disappears. And Hashem says, I want you to go till the last line, not stop in the middle. And this is the game. This is the test of Emuna. This is the test of our generation. Many tzaddikim, including Rabbi Nachman from Breslev, says the test of this generation is going to be Emuna. We are going to fail in Emuna. We might think that we have believed, we dress the part, we do what we need to do, but deep down inside I don't have Emunah, because if I had Emunah, I would run through walls and I would make things happen according to Hashem's plan, not according to my plan. And this trip, I realized that this is I realized it on myself. I realized on myself that Hashem was testing my level of emunah to a point that the trip was so successful because I was like, you know what? I'm delegating problems. Your problem is to do this, not you. Your problem is to do that. I'm saying it in a negative way, problem. But I was like, you know what? I'm stopping to taking all the responsibility on me because it's not my responsibility. It's your responsibility to do this. It's your responsibility to do that. And you know what? Hashem wants you to give responsibility to people. He doesn't want you to take responsibilities just because it's not your responsibility. It's not your job. Don't, mind your own business. And that's where I really realized, you know what? This is my responsibility. And if I'm not giving 100% of my effort to my things, then I'm basically not fulfilling what the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants from me. Needless to say that it's a little bit of a chutzpah. The Kadosh Baruch Hu says, hello, it's not yours. Back off. It's not your part. And the second that I let go, and this was really a very special trip for me. And why? Because I saw the success when I go full power on what I need to do. Everybody has a part in the world. Every person has a talent. Every person has a mission. There's no competition here. One is better than the other. One is more important than the other. We're playing parts. And when I'm not putting 100% of my part into my effort and my point, that's a little bit of a chutzpah. That's where Hashem says, hello, I don't know even what you're doing. I don't even know why you're going there. That's not your route. You have to go there. Now I know a lot of people say, okay, so how do I know what's my problem? What is my responsibility? That's a different question right now. That's not the problem. The point is to understand that I cannot solve everybody's problems, and 90% of my problems, they seem my problems. They're not my problems even. And you know what? When you start giving over these problems, that's when you understand what is your part. Because you're not busy being overwhelmed with other issues. That's when you're like, oh, now I see what I need to do. And the second that you let go and you give responsibility to wherever it needs to go, then things start falling exactly how they have to fall, exactly how the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. And that's the name of the game, Emuna. Just believe in me. And unfortunately, and I'm saying it with a heavy heart, and I'm not chas v'shalom saying it personally to hurt anybody, but I found out that nobody has emunah. And I'm talking about myself right now. But really, I mean this tour right now, this 11 days, this marathon, I'm sad to report that all I heard is problems. As usual. I mean, nobody came to tell me, I'm sorry. There was like maybe 3 people that came and told me, I just wanted to come and thank you. I love your classes. I love what you do. Thank you. There was like 3 of them. And all the rest, just came to me with baggages of problems. But at least I was able to cut the session short. Tell them, it's not your problems. Move on. It's not your problems. Stop pumping air into a balloon that doesn't even belong to you. It's not your problems. Just continue. But I really found out that we all lack a lot of emunah in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And that's why it was important for me to give it over, because we really need to search the points in our neshama where the gems are hidden, and that's only going to be pulled out when I have 100% emunah in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. When I'm going to walk every day by saying, that's not my problem, that's not my problem. And then it's not easy. It's not easy. Because we feel that if I let go, then I'm losing more control. Now, if I'm holding something, I have some control. If I let go, then I lose more control. So it's very, very hard to do. It's like almost like jumping out of a plane. You are afraid to jump out of the plane because the plane is your ground. And you're like, wait a minute, if I jump, then what's going to hold me? I don't know if you tried skydiving, but that's the psychological, unless you're like a little bit crazy. or you're under the influence or something, then you just jump out. You have this, wait a minute, this is my ground. Even though I'm 30,000 feet in the air, but this is the ground. And if I let go of the ground, then what is my ground? And then I'm like falling. But you have 100% trust that this little backpack is going to open and a little sheet is going to bring you down. So we put a trust in a parachute. But the reality, that's my life. Every day, Hashem tells me jump. I don't want to jump, it's scary. Hashem says jump. Jump, just trust me, I'll catch you. And we don't jump. No, I'll try this. No, I'll try that. No, I'll try this. Oh, maybe the salvation, the Yeshua is going to come from there. Hashem says, I don't even know what you're talking about. Jump. Just jump. Just jump already. And we can't, because I'm afraid to let go from the ground. But the reality that we're spiritual beings happens to be that right now we're in a body. It's a short stop. We're a spiritual being. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, jump, you can jump. I'll catch you. If you don't trust me to catch you, I'm sorry to tell you, you have a long way to go. So I know life is not so easy right now for anyone. Nobody's having it easy right now, and there's a reason for that. So we're not supposed to right now understand what's the reason. That's not the point. The point is that everybody is dealing with something. And the simple explanation is Mashiach is coming very soon. Hashem is now cutting it short. That's it. Last chance. It's like the store that is open the last on Shabbos. You know, you have a better selection when you go at 10 in the morning, but 1:30, 2 p.m., last store, and you have no other chance. You got to go to that store, and there's not much of a selection anymore. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu now is making sure that everybody's on board, that everybody is ready to go. So it's not something personal. Don't take it personal. Hashem is not being mean to anybody. People come to this emotion. Why? We're going to, Bezrat Hashem, after this class, the next one, we'll talk about the weekly parsha that has to do exactly with that, but people go into this anger. And Hashem says, don't take it personal. It's not personal. It's like hating the dentist that gives you a shot. Why you hate the dentist? You went to him in the first place. You had pain. And you asked him to numb you. So, don't take it personal. Hashem is not doing anything mean or going against us. Trust me, it's just for the best of us. The point is to really take this deep breath and say, what am I having anxiety over? This, and this? Okay, this is not my problems. My problems right now is to do this, and that. And the second that I give it over, then it's problem solved. It's almost like sometimes come Erev Shabbat, we have 40, 30 people, 50 people we have to get in here to feed. Half an hour, how are we going to do it? It's like you literally have like half an hour. And if you think that you can actually do it, then you'll go till the last minute of Shabbat. But when you understand that, wait a minute, it's not only up to me. Suddenly the neighbor walks in. You need help? Suddenly somebody walks in and tells you, oh, I'm ready for Shabbat. You need me to take over the kids? And everything disappears. You know that a year and a half ago, I have to tell you that story one time. Now we're out of time, but I'm going to tell you once. Remind me to tell you the story of our moving when we made Aliyah. And you know what, I'm going to tell you the short version of it and we'll finish. But you're really going to see how the Kadosh Baruch Hu changes things. So we made Aliyah, Baruch Hashem, a year and a half ago. And we literally were kicked out of New York. And we had to put all our stuff in storage. And then we ended up in Los Angeles. And some of you might know the story. But anyways, we ended up being almost a year in Los Angeles. And all our stuff was in storage in New York. When it was time to go to make Aliyah, we came to New York. And I reserved the container, the lift. Okay, so we scheduled the time for the lift to come. We didn't have much time, it had to be Friday. So I came early to the storage with enough men. We took everything out, down 4 floors. My unit in the storage was the last in line. And we take it down for 4 hours. It's all in the loading dock till the last box. 10 minutes before the lift has to arrive. And we're like, Baruch Hashem, we're on schedule. Okay, comes the time for the lift, and it will take about an hour to load the lift, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours max. Okay, we're waiting, 10 minutes pass, 20 minutes pass. I'm like, okay, truck drivers, traffic, half an hour pass, 45 minutes pass, I'm already, Okay, at some point the people from the storage came and they're like, you can't leave the stuff here. You gotta load it. I'm like, no, I'm waiting for the truck to come. And I start calling the movers, and I used an Israeli moving company, so for them it was an hour before Shabbat. Long story short, they're telling me I somehow get to the actual company that's sending the truck, because the movers from Israel, they're like, listen, we're having Shabbat in like 10 minutes. And they're telling me, you didn't reserve the lift for today, you reserved it for Sunday. I told them, are you out of your mind? Sunday is my flight. Besides, all my stuff is on the street. Long story short, no, the truck is not coming today. The lift is in the port in New Jersey. It's only coming on Sunday. Now what am I going to do? I have a household on the street, on the loading dock, and it's a few hours before Shabbat, and the truck is coming on Sunday. And I'm like, okay. Now, I started calling, I think I called about 50 moving companies and truck rentals. It was August 31st. This is like the most busiest day for moving, because it's the end of the month. I found one truck that I could rent, about 78 kilometers drive to get it, and he wanted like, I don't remember, like $600 a day, something like that, which would end up being like 2,000 something just to rent a truck. And to drive and get... I didn't even know how we did it. Okay guys, we're pushing it all in. Now I'll tell you what was the problem. That we ordered a lot of things to put on the lift that arrived to the loading dock. Now the unit that I had was exactly full. So now I have a problem. I have a unit plus all the stuff that arrived that was ordered for that day. Now, it wasn't 3 boxes. It was 2 huge beds. I took a lift, so I needed to fill it up. So I had 12 families that brought me boxes, and I took money for that. That's how I paid for the move. And I had like 60 boxes that don't even belong to me. Plus, Dvorah ordered like 6 pallets of all her jars and stuff. Everything's on the street. And I'm like, okay, how am I getting that into the room? You can't even believe what was going on for 5 hours. Friends came with minivans. Any friend that I had, people came with their cars. I put chairs in cars. Bikes were on veranda. You can't even believe how, I didn't even know how we got it in. The hotel where we stayed, the whole roof was bagged. It was not normal, but it was unbelievable how everybody came to the rescue. You know what I mean? I called people, do you have a car? Yes. Can I put 3 boxes in your trunk for Shabbat? Yeah. It just went like a machine. 5 minutes for Shabbat, I passed out on the bed. I was like, everything, we closed the door, everything. I'm telling you, I literally needed about an hour to catch my breath. I went to the mikveh. And I'm really not telling you the drama, I'm telling you the short version of the story. Okay, we had a nice last Shabbat in New York. I was saying already, Baruch Shpeterano. And come Sunday morning, and I called them like, are you sure the truck is coming? The truck is coming. Okay, 9 o'clock in the morning starts. If they would be able to put background music, they would put like, you can't even believe what was going on there. You know, we start pushing everything out. Crazy, it's craziness. Now I have a 1 o'clock in the afternoon flight. Okay, I'm coming to the storage. And I see all these signs on the side street. I'm like, no, Hashem, I don't like seeing these signs. I go into the office, she tells me, you have to be out of here by 11 because there's a parade and they're closing all the streets. And I'm like, please don't tell me that. Now I'm like, if the truck driver will see these notes, he would park outside. He will tell me, I'm going to be stuck now here. So I'm starting like, oh, now, how am I going to make it that the driver doesn't see the notes? Long story short, nobody showed up from the guys. It was me and another 2 guys. I was like, Hashem, I don't know what you want from me. I know Eretz Yisrael niknet b'yisurim. I know that going to Israel, it takes a lot of hardship. But just give me the heart attack now. Like, why make me sweat before the heart attack? And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to miss the flight. Dvorah's going to go with the kids with 23 luggages and boxes. I'm sure it's going to be fine. She's going to make it with the kids. I'll stay. And in my mind, I'm like, Hashem, I can't wait to see your solution. But in my mind, I literally had like about 3 minutes of like, just kill me right here and get it over with. And in my mind, I'm looking at all these boxes and I'm like, how am I going to get all the people that all the stuff is in their cars to come? And I'm like, and in the meantime, we had like a few friends that helping and it was not normal. And I'm like, okay, Hashem, listen, this is not my problem. It's your problem. I didn't ask for this. Anyways, I did my avodah of Emuna in me, and I'm going out, I'm halfway to jumping out of the window, and I'm going to the door. Suddenly the door of the storage opens, and though the elevators of the storage, they can hold like a lot of people can come in. I'm not exaggerating, maybe 30 guys walking out of the elevator. Dvorah went to the yeshiva and said, we need help. 30 guys came. You never seen anything like it. Within 40 minutes, everything was down and on the truck. It was not normal. People were coming from all directions. Friends coming, carrying, you can't even believe. My 3-year-old was like carrying boxes. We have pictures of everything. We have videos of everything. Just to see, I don't even know where people started coming from. The phone couldn't stop ringing. You need help? I heard you need help. Yeah, you can't even imagine how within seconds it was not normal. And it was like, I was on the lift. Come, make yourself comfortable. Come inside. Within literally 40 minutes, an 800-foot container was full. And it was really, really not normal how everything was done. I was able to close it 2 minutes before the police came and they're like, you gotta go. And I'm like, give me till the last minute. 2 minutes before it was time, we locked the truck, put the seal, he runs out. I didn't even know how we did it. I really do not know how we did it. And then running to the hotel, packing. I wasn't even finished packing. It was like a miracle after miracle after miracle. When you put responsibility to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, I don't even know where people came from. People from nowhere came from. We came to the airport, I didn't even know how we're going to do it. I'm not exaggerating. We came with 23 luggages, because you're allowed to take 3 luggages per person. 8 people. We had these huge, I don't even know how, this guy comes out to the drop-off. We had like a minibus dropping off all, like they took us. This guy's coming, he's like, here, let me help you. I'm like, where's your wings? Where's your wings? He's like, what? I'm like, nothing. He came, I have pictures. I have proof of everything. I take pictures of everything. We had those 2 huge cars. I don't even know how he loaded it. And then he tells me, he goes to me, he got me around. We skipped the entire line into the check-in. Everything was like, it was not normal. I mean, really, please remind me one time to tell you the day of our Aliyah. You can't even imagine what happened when we went on the plane. We go on the plane, And they let us on first because we have babies. I'm looking at the tickets, 8 people. Each ticket is in a different place on the plane. Now this is like a 747 jumbo with 460 people on board. Me, my wife, and 6 kids, starting from a half-a-year-old baby. Everyone is in a different place on the plane. And I tell the students, listen, I mean, what do you want me to do? She's like, well, now sit where I told her, do you want my 2-year-old to sit over there and my 4-year-old to sit over there? You really think it's a good idea? You can't even believe they didn't have seats for us. We shared 3 seats. I mean, for the takeoff, we had to sit in separately. But for the 12-hour flight, we're sitting like this on 3 seats. And you can't even imagine. Really, please remind me to tell you the Aliyah story. And it's not the end. There's much, much more to it. Even when we landed, you can't even imagine. The Kadosh Baruch Hu literally was searching for the last drop of juice that can come out of my neshama, my wife's neshama. Even my kids were like, come on, like, Hashem. It wasn't even normal. It literally was not normal. This was proof. The Gemara says, Eretz Yisrael niknet beisurim. To come to Eretz Yisrael, you have to go through hardship. So, the point is that it was very easy to jump out of the window, or to just to give up, or to say, Hashem, just kill me here. Like, why bother getting my shirt all wet from the sweat? And this is really the not even the tip of the iceberg of really what was going on in this 48 hours. And Baruch Hashem, it's all documented. But what I'm trying to say is that the Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to get everybody involved. That when you think you can take responsibility half an hour before Shabbat and you can make the meal go, no, you can't. You have to say, you cut the onions, you peel the potatoes, you clean the floor, you hold the baby. Hashem wants us to say, you know what, this is my responsibility, and the rest is not. And we take 90% of the responsibility on us, and 10% of what I really need to do, I don't do. And Hashem says, like, who are you kidding? You're taking on yourself 10%, the 90% that doesn't belong to you, and the 10% that belongs to you, you don't even know. So, Baruch Hashem, this trip was really an eye-opener that we kind of going in circles and we're missing the point. And Hashem says, oh, I only want from you to trust me. I just want you to trust me and have faith in me. I'll solve all your problems. I'll solve your problems. Just give over. Just let it go. Just take this jump. I'll take care of everything. And we still have this block in our heart, in our neshama, that we're not willing to let go. And this is our lack of emunah. And we're all suffering from that. We do not have emunah in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. We think we do. With the little that we do is not the real here. Take my problem. And Mehmet, remind me, we're going to do a series of Emuna classes, and please let me tell you about our 8 months journey of Aliyah, which that can be a 3-month course of Emuna and Bitachon in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, how the Kadosh Baruch Hu was like taking us from side to side, like Noach was in the flood on the ark, from side to side. Hashem says, I just want you to trust me for 1 year. It's going to be storms. There's going to be a lot of waves, but just trust me. So, what I want to give over is that we really have to reach to the depth of our neshama to understand that the Kadosh Baruch Hu has a different agenda for us. And when I take too much responsibility in something that doesn't belong to me, the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm very sorry. You took the wheel, then you drive. You want me to drive, then give him back the wheel. And all I need to do is to surrender to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And that's it says here, here's the keys, you drive. I'm sitting in the back, and I'm enjoying the ride. And I'm just going to read my Tehillim in the back seat. And that's it. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. And that's where I get to where I'm supposed to go without missing exits, without missing the time, without coming last minute, without worrying. Without worrying. I mean, worry is the essence of lack of bitachon. Look at that, you know how you say worry in Hebrew? De'aga. De'aga. Now if you look at the letters, you have the letter Aleph, then it skips, then you have the letter Gimel, then you have the little Dalet, then you have the letter Hey, it goes in order. But you skip the letter Bet. And Bet stands for the word Bitachon, trust in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So if I trust in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, if I have Bitachon, if I have the Bet, then I don't have De'aga, I don't have any worries. But if I don't trust the Kadosh Baruch Hu, then all I'm going to have is worries. All day long, I'm going to be worried. And it's kind of like chutzpah in the eyes of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Why are you worried? You don't believe in me? You don't believe I can do it? So the result of this lack of trust in God is worry. And I'll worry all day long. All day long I'm going to worry. Who needs that? Who needs this headache? So take my advice as the passenger that goes last on the flight. Sometimes we have to go last on the flight. But you know what? Then you don't have to stand in lines. I mean, you have to look at the bright side. I told my daughter, listen to this. I don't have to stand in line. I come last. And you know what? I even learned a better trick. Because last trip, I literally almost had a heart attack because I was literally last in line because the TSA stopped me. It was a very big test. It was a very, very big test because I was about to explode how they behaved, and I knew the test is me standing quietly. And I literally ran 37 gates. I literally almost had a heart attack. But then I learned the trick that somebody told me, don't worry, your luggage is on the plane, they're not leaving without you. And I was like, oh, that's a good trick to know. Because once you checked in and the luggage is on the plane is not going to leave without you. I'm talking about international, not national, not domestic, because then they'll put you on the next flight. I'm talking about international, because there's no next flight. They're not going to send the plane with your luggages. So I was like, oh, that's good to know. So now I can just let Hashem drive. He wants me to, like the story in Phoenix, he wanted me to sit with this couple at 1 a.m. about their marital problems and solve their problems. And Hashem says, if you would rush to the airport, so you would just sit in the lobby and you would be able to help them. Your job is to help them. Your job is to come last to the plane and to help this couple right now for 45 minutes. Like to tune a piano, or you go to the chiropractor. That was my responsibility, not to arrive early at the airport. And Hashem says, don't worry, I'll get you to the airport. The flight is not going without you. You talk to these guys now, 5 to 1, when your flight is 2:20. Don't worry, I can make the 20-minute drive to the airport a 10-minute drive to the airport. I can make it, I walked in, there was no line, because I was last, of course. So Hashem says, you worry about your problem, I'll worry about everything else. I have you covered. You have to talk to this couple from 10 a.m. till 5 to 1 a.m. That's what I brought you here. That's when I realized, wait a minute, my problem is to deal with this couple, not to rush to the airport. I'm going to come anyways last to the plane. So might as well skip the lines. So when you work hand to hand, parallel to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, there's no issues. It's like a oiled machine, like a team. Hashem says, I'll have your back, you have my back. And that's what I want to take from that. I need to work parallel to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, not in front of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And that's where all my problems will be solved. And again, I'm not saying that life will be easier. I'm not saying that suddenly all my challenges and all my problems are going to be solved. But they're going to be easy to deal with, and they're not going to be as harsh, and at least I don't have to worry. It's going to be dealt exactly how I have to deal. And if I have to struggle 3-4 months without money, that's what Hashem wants me. He wants me to live tight. And if I have to struggle a few months with my wife, with our Shalom Bride issues, that's what Hashem wants. He wants me to learn patience and to learn understanding and forgiveness. So I have to run with Hashem's plan. So I know I went off too much off the topic, but I felt that that's what needed to be shared today instead of Birkat HaNe'anim. So sorry I took you off from the schedule, but Baruch Hashem, I think it's a little bit more important to understand that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is running the world perfect. Every detail is calculated. when you think you can recalculate the route, Hashem says to you, you're going to run into so many headaches. Just stick on the route. Just go on the route that I tell you. This is called in Hebrew, Derech HaMelech, the route of the king. You're going to save yourself a lot of headaches. I'm not saying your life is going to be easier. You're still going to have problems, but you're not going to have a headache. So B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should guide us all to have a clear view of our path. Like my 5-year-old told my mom today, just lean forward. You have to come a little bit closer. So B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should pull us a little bit closer and Bemet should pass these last few tests that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is putting in front of us, and at least we will come to the flight with less of a headache and a heartbeat that is not 140 beats per minute. B'ezrat Hashem, Bemet, we should all have the clarity and the peace of mind and nachat ruach to be able to focus on what I need to do, and it's all about trusting the Kadosh Baruch Hu.